Hello everyone, my name is Oliveira. I am a Brazilian attorney, also licensed in California and Brazil. And today we're going to be talking about the paternity recognition action in Brazil, also known as ação de reconhecimento de paternidade, of course, in Portuguese. So let's talk about the purpose of such action. The purpose is to find out who the actual father of a child is. In 95% of the time, this action is going to be filed by the mother of a child, but it could also be filed by the child itself, and naturally the child would be not like in its early years, but we're talking about an adult child. And in some rare cases, this could also be filed by a prospective father who thinks he may be the father, but he is uncertain, and then he can file this specific action to find out if he's the father or not. Important to note, the effects of finding out who the father is naturally goes beyond assessing who the father is. There are going to be legal consequences such as stipulation of child support. There could be inheritance rights for this child. There could be social security benefits and obligations from the parent with the child, and also records for the birth certificate and other records for this child could be updated to reflect the father's name. So what are the requirements for someone to file such action? There is a need for documents or evidence proving a reasonable chance that someone would be the father. So if a mother is filing for the paternity recognition action, the mother would need to provide evidence such as pictures of the mother and the prospective father, maybe emails, like scheduling a date night out. There could be testimonials from third parties saying, listen, they were going out as a couple, and this type of evidence. The court is very accommodating in terms of the type of evidence one could provide, but naturally there is a need for, the court and a judge to assess a reasonable probability that an individual would be the father of a child to compel such person to go through a DNA testing. A requirement for this action to be filed is that the mother or the child or the father, they are in a geographical jurisdiction pertinent to the case. So just to think about a foreign citizen, let's say if the woman is based in Brazil and the prospective child would be born in Brazil, a prospective father could not file such action abroad in the United States, for instance. The action would have to be filed in Brazil, and more specifically in the state and in the city in which the woman, like the future mother, is located. Now, let's talk about the process itself, like the steps that one would need to go through. The first one would be to naturally file a petition with all the supporting documents, as we said. Once the judge is satisfied with the evidence presented, then the prospective father is going to be notified, is going to be served with the lawsuit paperwork, and will have an opportunity to defend himself. So he can, raise defenses such as, well, I haven't seen this person like for the last, 6 months, and now she's claiming, like she's 3 months pregnant, right? Like, so it wouldn't make any sense for him to be the father. Of course, the judge is going to evaluate the answer and is going to maybe ask for the mother to provide a clarification. But again, once the judge reaches a certain level of not exactly certainty, but a substantial chance that this man would be the father of the child, the judge can then order this man to attend a DNA testing. A natural question that would follow up is like, am I obligated to take such test? What if I don't want to take the test? In this case, the natural outcome would be for the judge to actually assume you are the father. So basically, you have an opportunity to deny the paternity by taking the test, but if you are refusing to take the test and all the evidence supports that yes, you may be the father, it is somewhat natural that the judge is going to kind of, assume that you are actually the father. Again, you would have an opportunity to take the test and prove that you're not the father. But if you're not willing to take the test, the only way that the court has to compel you to take the test is to actually assume that you are the father. And a judge, in theory, could, yes, decide that you are the father, and this order would remain until you would take the test and again have this opportunity of contradict the judge's decision. Still talking about the process, like for the process of recognizing the paternity, there may be outcomes directly related to this action, such as the judge ordering the registry to update the child's birth certificate and additional orders for the benefit of the minor, right? Now, it's also possible that a separate action is started to address things such as the child support and other matters related to the relationship between this mother and the father. So now let's talk about a few things from the foreign citizen's perspective. It's very common that foreign citizens sometimes visit Brazil and then they come back to their countries of origin, and maybe eventually they receive a message, informing that they are going to be a father, right? In our experience, there is a number of instances in which this is going to be the case, but it's not always the case. Some people are going to take this at face value and they are going to start to pay, some type of agreed child support. But we think it's very important for you to have first evidence that the woman is pregnant, and after you have this evidence, to push for as soon as possible to have actual evidence that you are indeed the biological father. In many instances, the communication between the mother and this prospective father may not be very positive. Maybe it was a type of short-term relationship, and the prospective father doesn't want to have this contact with the mother. Many times we try to, discuss with our clients to see if such communication is possible. But in some instances, we're going to work as an intermediary to keep the communication objective and ideally as close as what the Brazilian law would expect from this prospective father. Interesting to note, just because you are not in Brazil, it doesn't mean that the Brazilian law and a Brazilian judge will not be able to reach you. There is collaboration between the countries, and for instance, there is the so-called letter rogatory, which is a legal device by which the legal system of a country such as Brazil may activate a different country such as the United States. So a judge in the United States can serve an order or a lawsuit coming from Brazil. I hope this video was helpful. For sure, there are many other aspects of such action that could be of your interest. If you have a case to be discussed, feel free to schedule a consultation so we can have a conversation about your potential needs. And I hope to see you in our next video.